Alright you guys, welcome back. Right now I'm in 1.6.4 and I wanted to talk to you about this tower and why these chunks keep getting reset every single time I update to 1.7. I'm also going to be talking about how you guys can prevent that from happening in your world. Now, first I'd like to remind you guys of this little trick, and I'm going to have to go into survival mode real quick to do this, but if you light a redstone lamp and then you take a silk touch item, such as this silk touch pick, and you break it, it will drop a lit redstone lamp. Now, when I place this, it returns back to its normal state. However, switch back. If I go and put them in item frames like I did almost a year ago now, when I built this tower, you can see that they actually remain. And you guys also might remember that B00 did this in his Building with B00 series a while back as well. Now, the reason I bring this up is because that happens to be the exact thing that is causing all the chunks to reset in this little area. So by simply removing these guys, you can actually completely prevent this issue from happening. I couldn't tell you why 1.7 doesn't like those things, but I will tell you that in 1.7, silk touching a lit redstone lamp will now drop a non-lit redstone lamp log. So at least that's been fixed, and you don't have to worry when you're already in 1.7 of accidentally causing that sort of chunk reset. Alright, now I also want to show you guys something else real quick. Alright, so you guys might remember that in my last episode I was using sponges to outline the perimeter of this particular taiga biome. Now, while it is true that I would need to use something like sponges or whatever to outline other biomes that I want to keep, I want to show you guys a quick technique that's actually very simple in order to immediately, quickly outline this entire biome. The reason that this particular biome is so important is because you want to be able, if you're like me and you want to keep this snowy, you're going to want to be able to quickly identify and swap out this biome for the new type of taiga biome that will actually continue to produce snow. Alright, so here's how we're going to do it. We're going to jump out of here real quick and hop into MC Edit. Alright, so here we are in MC Edit. And what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to grab a large area. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to switch to chunk view so that I can see very clearly what I'm looking at. And I can make sure to grab all of the snow, all the stuff that's been covered by snow. Now, originally, maybe I might have decided in the beginning to keep, let's say we were going to keep this area as a snowy taiga, but then maybe this we just let it turn into a regular taiga, no problem. But you know what? Because of how easy I can actually make this, it's not such a big deal. And in fact, maybe we'd even do this one. But let's just go ahead and see what happens. You know, these are getting to the point where they're so far away from my base that it actually kind of doesn't matter. Because I'm probably never going to go over to these ones that aren't going to actually produce snow anymore. However, I am going to appreciate the view, which isn't necessarily going to change because the ice is only going to melt if I put torches there. Alright, so let's go ahead and swap over to camera view. I'm just going to go ahead and hit select chunks just because I like to be a little bit more consistent. And you can see I've grabbed way more than I need to. But I'm going to go ahead and I am going to snap this up and pull this down so we're definitely above the line of trees and whatnot. And I'm just going to make this at a height of 1. You can see I've grabbed 464 wide, 448 long, and I'm going down from around 20 right now until I get to a height of 1, which I understand is probably a little bit hard to see. You can see right here, the 1 height. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use fill and replace, and I'm going to take sponge just because, like I said before, it's something that's really easy to quickly remove. And I'm going to go ahead and hit OK, and then I'm going to hit fill. And we just wait for that to add the sponges, and then I'm going to go ahead and save it, and we're going to jump back into to my, oh, you know what, actually no, I was going to say that we could just go ahead and jump back into 1.6.4, but actually it probably, instead of hitting toggle downfall and waiting for all the snow to actually cover this enormous area and knowing for a fact that you got everything correct, it'll probably potentially be faster to just simply repopulate these chunks again. Because if I repopulate these chunks, we can go ahead and see if it would actually if it would actually immediately lay down all the snow we would need right away, which I think is how the game operates. So let's go ahead, and I'm just going to skip through this little waiting period while we save. Or in fact, I could just cancel the save. And then, since I'm going to have to save again in a second. And then let's go over to chunk control. And I'm going to hit repopulate. Alright, and now I'm going to go ahead and save. And then I'll check with you guys in 1.6.4. Alright, now we should be underneath the sponges. If this wants to load. There we go. All right, you can see we're in darkness. It hasn't generated the sponges yet, but it's going to in a second. And we are, of course, underneath them. That's why, obviously, it's so dark. And it's actually pretty cool to look at this because of how well lit this is due to these jack-o'-lanterns that I've got here lighting up the ice farm. So let's go ahead and there they are, way above the clouds. So let's go ahead and try to go up in a spot that's clearly not Taiga Biome. So this should be good. And we punch through here, and there you have it. There you have it, right there. So let's go ahead and hit F3. And obviously, there's not going to be any snow in a spot that is not a taiga biome. But let's look around the border and see if we can find right away if any of this is supposed to be taiga that did not get the snow. And it looks like, on first glance, that is not the case. It looks like there's no situation where it does not actually need to be taiga and not have any snow. Now, it is kind of interesting. I didn't realize that chickens decided to populate, or maybe they're coming from the jungle and going over there. That would make a little bit more sense than generating in taiga biomes where it's so cold. Now, all right, so here's what we got here, and this is great and everything, but allow me to now show you the next step in making this process very, very simple. So I'm going to go ahead and hop back into MC Edit, and we're going to look at this one more time. All right, so here we are back inside of MC Edit, and something I should have mentioned is that when you jump back into 1.6.4, in order to let the repopulated chunks generate snow, you're going to want to make sure that you actually traverse a little bit, because I didn't get these chunks over here loaded, so the snow never generated on them. All right, so let's go ahead and grab all the sponge layer again. So let's let this load. Here you can see the corner. And I'm just going to go ahead and grab it and then jump way over here and grab the other end. Now, I happen to know already, because I saw it, that that the width is going to be 464 and the length is like 448. So let's go ahead and find that spot. It looks like there's a little bit more over here. Oh, right there. All right, so we got our whole area, and now we've just grabbed the sponge. All right, that means that on the layer just above that, the snow layer is not selected. All right, so now here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to hit fill and replace. I'm going to look for sponge. All right, and I'm going to replace that with air. All right, let's give it a second. All right. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to nudge and we're going to go up one block. And what that has done is now, instead of being selected on the sponge area, we are selected on the snow layer. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit fill and replace, and I'm going to look for snow layer. There we go. Replace that with sponge. Now, you don't have to use sponge, but it's just easier to be able to grab a large area and say, replace sponge with air. Because not a lot of people use sponges in their world, and they don't naturally generate. So you're not actually going to be hurting your world at all if you do it this way. Alrighty, let's see what we got. Yeah, deselect is fine. Alright, so now this is changing, as you can see, into sponge. Now here's actually one thing that has sort of impeded my ability to continue this series up to this point. And I still sort of can't go much farther. And actually, something we should notice, and this is probably another part that was victim to me either not grabbing it or not loading these chunks when they populated, was this did not, as you can see, there's just a sheer cliff right here. So there's another area where you definitely want to make sure that you walk around to populate these things. But here's why I have not actually been continuing this series as faithfully as I would like to. I'm sort of waiting on MC Edit to catch up, in that when I like what I would now use this for. I'm being very confusing. What I would now use this for is this little area I'm grabbing. I would use filter, set biome, and I would grab the new type of ice taiga. However, MC Edit has not caught up to 1.7 just yet. As you can see, I don't have the, I have the option for other icy type biomes, but I don't think I have the new biomes that I want to be replacing it with. So I could just use Frozen River or Ice Plains or Ice Mountains or something like that, but I'm sort of personally waiting for something different, something new, the new biomes. I just want to be able to use those. So I'm just, for the sake of this demonstration, I'm going to use Ice Plains. I'm going to hit filter. As you can see, I grabbed that, and then I'm just going to go and I'm going to nudge it in right here, and then go forward, filter again. And I'm being extra cautious because I want to make sure that I grab exactly what would have naturally generated here in terms of the border. But you don't have to be this picky if you don't want to be on your world. So basically, it's just the tedious task of going through and grabbing just what would be sponge and swapping it into the ice plains as opposed to taiga. Now, let's say you've gone through this whole thing and you're pretty confident, but you're not 100% sure that you actually changed everything correctly. Well, here's my advice to you. Go ahead and you can reload, repopulate these chunks again, and then reload your world, this time in 1.7. And that way, whatever's in the taiga biome when it repopulates in 1.7 will not generate snow. So if you find small patches that are still sponge without a snow layer on top, that'll tell you that that little area did not get converted to the correct biome yet. And you could just do that several times until you're done, and then after that you're done. So there you go. It's pretty simple, and it's a pretty quick technique. So yes, it does take a while to go through if you're going to be really a stickler about these types of borders and you want to get them perfect like I do. But this, another reason for me making this video is to show the other members of the server that if you do want to keep your taiga biome snowy, let me know, because I am willing to go ahead and do this for you. So that's about it. I wanted to do this short little video and kind of bring you guys up to speed. And then next episode, we are going to look at the actual stitching process and stitching together a member of the base. A member of the server's base. So we're probably going to be looking at example next video. So I'll see you guys then.